Hey there, and welcome to today's Explainer. If you are a parent, specifically to a busy, endlessly curious 3 to 5-year-old, I am so absolutely thrilled you're here. Today we're diving into something we all care deeply about, building emotional resilience and patience in our little ones. I know. Some days that feels like a totally uphill battle, right? But what if I told you that one of the single most effective tools for child development is something you probably literally already have sitting in your playroom? We're going to explore the architecture of patience, and specifically, how we can unlock serious growth through puzzle reward systems.
Because it's kind of the ultimate modern parenting dilemma, isn't it? How on earth do we teach a 3-year-old patience in a world that is just obsessed with instant screens? Trust me, you are definitely not alone in this daily struggle. We live in this hyper-fast environment where pretty much everything is available at the tap of a tiny finger. And that immediate gratification makes teaching focus, and especially delayed gratification, incredibly difficult. But there is a way to bridge this gap, using something beautifully simple yet deeply, deeply impactful.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Escaping instant gratification. 2. Teaching patience naturally. 3. The psychology of the reveal. 4. Building emotional resilience. And finally, 5. Meaningful family bonding.
So, starting right off with Section 1, Escaping Instant Gratification. It's all about finding that elusive balance in a fast-paced world.
Look, as parents, balancing screen time with meaningful emotional development is frankly one of our biggest hurdles. Digital entertainment gives our kids immediate stimulation, it's instant gratification, and it is incredibly fast-paced. But a puzzle reward system, that acts as a completely natural, screen-free antidote. It actually replaces that fleeting high of an immediate digital tap with anticipation, persistent effort, and delayed gratification. By tying a meaningful reward to the completion of a puzzle, we naturally slow down the child's environment. It gives their developing brains a real chance to just breathe, focus, and actually work toward a goal.
Moving right along to Section 2, Teaching Patience Naturally, because real progress happens step by step. Now, what's really interesting here is that patience isn't just something kids are magically born with, It's a muscle. It absolutely has to be exercised. When 3 to 5-year-olds work on a puzzle, they are learning firsthand that true success requires effort and time. They develop concentration, persistence, trial and error, and of course, delayed gratification. Unlike a tablet that basically does all the work for them, a puzzle demands their full participation. They slowly figure out that progress is incremental, and we're not just talking about finishing a picture of a dinosaur here. These are the exact foundational life skills that support future school performance, long-term confidence, and vital emotional control.
And we can even take this a step further by weaving education directly into the activity. You can literally transform learning into an adventure. For reading, maybe they're uncovering a hidden picture or a simple word. For math, you can just count the pieces together. Logic gets a huge boost by matching shapes and patterns, and problem-solving naturally happens as they work toward that final goal. When a 4-year-old realizes that figuring out this puzzle leads to a fun reward, their natural curiosity just kicks in and becomes the absolute best driver of motivation.
Which brings us nicely to Section 3, the psychology of the reveal. Let's dig into why anticipation matters so much.
So the crucial point here is what happens under the hood, the actual brain science when your child places that very last piece. The core psychological process at play is called emotional memory. Basically, this is where anticipation, waiting, and curiosity significantly increase the long-term recall and meaningfulness of an experience. Child psychologists point out that when kids get a reward instantly, it's pretty much forgotten in a flash. But when a reward is attached to effort, when their brain wires the struggle of the puzzle directly to the joy of the reward, they remember the journey, the challenge, and that triumphant feeling for way, way longer than the reward itself.
Think about how this naturally builds. First, there's the waiting. It's slow, it requires real focus. Then, as the image starts taking shape, the curiosity kicks in. What is this going to be? Then, when there are only 2 or 3 pieces left, the excitement just starts bubbling over. And finally, the reveal. A hidden message that says, family movie night. Do you see how that deliberate step-by-step buildup completely transforms a simple movie night into a massive, hard-earned emotional victory for your child?
All right, Section 4, Building Emotional Resilience, or, as I like to call it, the tremendous value of temporary frustration.
Because let's be real, that journey is not always easy. And as a parent, it is incredibly hard to sit back and watch your child get frustrated. We want to jump in and fix it. But trying pieces that don't fit, feeling that temporary frustration, having to rethink their strategy, and keeping at it until they succeed, this is a beautiful, absolutely necessary growth step. Puzzles act as a totally safe, encouraging little sandbox for your kid to learn how to be comfortable with making mistakes. They're learning how to fail safely and, more importantly, how to bounce back.
Over time, working through this safe struggle fosters an incredible internal dialogue. They start telling themselves, I can solve difficult things if I stay patient. I mean, just imagine your 5-year-old truly internalizing that belief. That mindset shift is deeply profound. It acts like this protective armor of resilience that becomes valuable far, far beyond the playroom. It prepares them for school, for handling social conflicts, and honestly, just for life.
Which leads us to our final stop, Section 5, Meaningful Family Bonding. This is all about prioritizing memories over materials.
Because ultimately, that's what we were striving for, right? Memories. This is exactly how puzzle reward systems solve the modern family's search for interactive, screen-free connection. We all know the drill with instant material rewards. They quickly lose their emotional value and become forgotten plastic toys at the bottom of a bin by next week. But emotional experiences? Those are totally different. When a personalized puzzle reveals a treasure hunt, or maybe a surprise family outing, you get genuine, shared family reactions. Research consistently shows that a kid might forget a toy, but they will remember the feeling of a surprise reveal and a shared family celebration for years to come.
And this brilliantly illustrates how this whole process allows us to step in and actively encourage our children. We actually get to celebrate their progress piece by piece, participate together right there on the floor, and create these memorable emotional moments. That emotional layer, that shared collective joy when the final piece finally clicks into place, is what makes this entire experience so incredibly powerful for a young developing mind.
So, I want to leave you with a thought. What lasting memory are you going to build with your family's next puzzle reveal? You have the tools now, and you understand the profound psychology behind why this works so beautifully for preschool-aged children. So go ahead, dust off those puzzles, tie them to a really fun, simple family experience, and just watch your child's patience, resilience, and joy grow piece by piece. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and hey, happy puzzling!